In the city of Aurora, Colorado, Angela Craig was cherished for her warm smile and unwavering dedication to her family. A devoted mother of 6, her life seemed idyllic, particularly with her husband, James Craig, by her side. Yet, behind their seemingly happy facade lurked dark secrets ready to be unveiled. Angela's sudden and alarming health issues ignited a shocking investigation that would expose lies, betrayal, and a deadly scheme crafted by the very person she had placed her trust in. Angela was born on April 15, 1975, in the bustling town of Dodge City, Kansas. Growing up as a beloved member of a large family of 10 children, she was known for her sharp wit, intelligence, and her remarkable ability to engage others in captivating conversations. Angela was always the heart of any gathering, her love for animals shining through despite her allergies. Her passions extended to reading and woodworking, reflecting her studies in interior design. Angela found joy in creating and arranging living spaces, but her foremost priority remained her family. She nurtured strong connections with her siblings and was always quick to lend a helping hand to friends and even strangers. Her deep interest in genealogy led her to become a family history consultant, assisting individuals in reconnecting with long-lost relatives. Angela was also highly involved in her church, serving as a choir director, teacher, and youth group leader. On December 18, 1999, Angela married James Craig, a man with aspirations of becoming a doctor. By 2006, those aspirations came to fruition when James earned his doctorate in dental surgery from the University of Missouri, Kansas City. During his time at the university, James played a pivotal role in establishing the International Dental Program, which assisted foreign-born dentists in obtaining their licenses to practice in the United States. In October 2006, he began his dental practice in Aurora. Over the course of 23 years, Angela and James welcomed 6 children into their lives. Despite the physical distance separating them, Angela remained close with her siblings, particularly her sister Toni. Toni resided in Utah, and the 2 sisters maintained a daily phone connection, cherishing many memorable trips together. With James's burgeoning dental practice and Angela's deep community involvement, the Craig family appeared blissfully happy. However, everything changed on March 15, 2023, at 11 a.m. Angela was rushed to the hospital, gripped by a debilitating headache, dizziness, and nausea. Always present, James remained by her side throughout this frightening ordeal. Despite the medical team's best efforts, Angela's condition took a turn for the worse by 2 p.m., culminating in a severe seizure. In a race against time, doctors quickly placed her on life support as her worried family sought answers. This marked Angela's 3rd hospital visit in just 10 days, plagued by recurring symptoms of headache, nausea, and dizziness, yet no clear diagnosis had surfaced. This time, however, her condition was alarmingly severe. The medical team found themselves perplexed as Angela's health continued to deteriorate. Arriving at the hospital were 2 close friends, Ryan Redfern and his wife. Ryan, a fellow dentist, had been a longtime friend of James since their university days. As a financial partner in James's dental practice, Ryan had stepped in to help save the business during a financial crisis in 2021. His wife, who held a doctorate in nursing, was acutely aware of Angela's recent health struggles. Angela Craig's health began to unravel on March 5, 2023, shortly after her visit to her sister in Utah. Feeling increasingly unwell, she sought medical assistance on March 6th. Yet, to her dismay, the doctors found nothing alarming in their initial examinations. They prescribed standard medication and advised her to rest. However, Angela's condition continued to deteriorate, prompting another visit to the hospital on March 9th. Her friends began to voice their concerns. On that very day, while Angela lay in the hospital, Ryan Redfern's wife reached out to James Craig, offering her assistance. Though appreciative of the gesture, James reassured her that they had things under control. The next day, March 10th, Ryan's wife followed up, checking on any progress regarding Angela's diagnosis and once again extending her support. James, recognizing the gravity of the situation, expressed his gratitude for her concern, admitting how tough the ordeal had been. This moment marked a critical juncture in Angela's health journey. Growing increasingly worried, James revealed that the doctors had conducted a myriad of tests, including several blood draws. Fortunately, the initial blood tests returned normal results. They ruled out autoimmune disorders and diabetes as potential culprits. The primary issue appeared to be Angela's blood pressure. In a desperate attempt to stabilize her, she had been administered 5 liters of IV fluids over a 24-hour period, yet her blood pressure remained alarmingly low. Despite the medical interventions, Angela still felt severely unwell. The doctors opted to keep her hospitalized for another night, hoping she might return home the following day. In the ensuing days, Ryan's wife consistently checked in on Angela's condition, displaying unwavering support. James relayed that further tests had been conducted, including an MRI due to a family history of brain tumors, along with ultrasounds and CT scans of her head, chest, and abdomen. To everyone's astonishment, all these tests yielded normal results, leaving no medical explanation for her alarming decline. Without clear answers, Angela was eventually discharged from the hospital. Yet a troubling question lingered. If all the medical reports indicated Angela was perfectly healthy, why was her condition deteriorating daily? Tragically, on March 15, 2023, Angela's health took a catastrophic turn. This time, her symptoms escalated to extreme dizziness, intense nausea, and excruciating stomach pain. Unable to reach James, who was at his clinic, Angela called her brother for urgent help. He rushed her to the hospital, arriving around 11 a.m. Upon receiving the distressing news, James hurried to his wife's side amidst the unfolding crisis. In a frantic attempt to keep everyone informed, James reached out to Ryan's wife, sharing the alarming update and even sending her 2 photos of Angela in the hospital, surrounded by concerned medical professionals. It was revealed that Angela had suffered a stroke and had become unresponsive. Deeply troubled, Ryan and his wife decided to visit the hospital. They sent James a message, letting him know they were on their way to provide support during this harrowing time. While en route to the hospital, Ryan received a concerning call from Caitlin, a relatively new office manager at James's clinic. Caitlin had observed some unsettling occurrences that raised questions about Angela's health. She recounted an incident from March 6, 2023, when she was working late at the dental office, and James had shown up unexpectedly. In a moment that felt charged with foreboding, Caitlin noticed an unsettling deviation in James's routine. Although he had no patients scheduled that day, instead of retreating to his office, he headed down the hall to a vacant exam room. This unusual choice raised alarms in her mind. James had always relied on his office computer, making this sudden change seem even more suspicious. About 30 minutes after Caitlin left the office, a text message from James arrived on her phone. In his message, he revealed that he was expecting a personal package and urged her to ensure its safe arrival, insisting that no one else should open it. On March 13, 2023, the package James had mentioned finally made its way to the office. However, when Caitlin went to retrieve it, she found that a colleague had already taken the liberty of opening it. Remembering James's insistence on confidentiality, she quickly resealed the package and handed it directly back to him. As she repackaged the box, something caught her eye. A hazardous material label attached to a cylindrical container marked potassium cyanide. A wave of unease washed over her, but she initially assumed the chemical was for some medical or dental purpose beyond her knowledge. Caitlin resealed the box without further thought and handed it over to James, who later left the office clutching the mysterious container wrapped in brown paper. Doubts began to gnaw at her. Why would James take potassium cyanide home? Driven by curiosity, Caitlin turned to Google to research the uses of potassium cyanide. What she discovered sent chills down her spine. The symptoms of potassium cyanide poisoning mirrored those that Angela had been displaying. As Angela's condition deteriorated with alarming symptoms of nausea, vomiting, and low blood pressure, Ryan Redfern arrived at the hospital, still grappling with the shocking information Caitlin had shared. He sought out his wife, and together they rushed to Angela's side, now on life support. Without hesitation, Ryan approached one of the nurses on duty, voicing his grave suspicion that Angela might have been poisoned by James using potassium cyanide. Though startled by the unexpected claim, the nurse recognized the seriousness of the situation. Taking swift action, she agreed to conduct a new round of tests on Angela. The gravity of the claims weighed heavily as she dialed 911 to alert the authorities. Meanwhile, James stepped outside to take a phone call, unaware that it provided Ryan and his wife a window to leave the hospital. But their exit was abruptly interrupted by a frantic call from James, demanding to know why they had left. He informed them that the hospital staff were suspecting him of poisoning his wife. Ryan, fueled by a mix of anger and determination, confronted James directly. He pressed James about the mysterious package delivered to the dental office and the unsettling contents it held. With nowhere to hide, James finally admitted to purchasing the chemical but claimed that Angela had asked him to do so, insisting he never imagined she would put it to use. After their tense phone call, James sent a text to Ryan, pleading with him not to share their conversation with anyone, especially the police. He expressed concern that Ryan's involvement could further harm his family. In a moment of desperation, James acknowledged Ryan's motivations, but insisted that if Ryan had approached him directly, instead of involving others, they might have avoided this chaos altogether. His frustration and anger towards Ryan were palpable, but Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister was lurking beneath the surface of James's words. In a startling revelation, James Craig confessed to purchasing the chemical. He claimed that it was at the behest of his wife, Angela, never imagining that she would ultimately use it for such a sinister purpose. Following a tense phone call, James felt compelled to reach out to his friend, Ryan Redfern, through a desperate text message. In his message, James pleaded with Ryan to keep their conversation confidential, especially from the police. He expressed anxiety, fearing that Ryan's involvement would only exacerbate the turmoil facing his family. Acknowledging Ryan's concerns, James insisted that had Ryan approached him directly, without involving others, they might have circumvented the chaos that had since unfolded. The weight of frustration and anger hung heavily in James's words, revealing his deep-seated emotions. Meanwhile, Ryan was left with an unsettling feeling that lingered in the back of his mind. The air was thick with tension as Ryan reflected on his past worries regarding Angela. He pondered whether a troubling incident could have triggered her drastic actions. With genuine concern, he voiced his observations about her symptoms, likening them to those of a stroke, and inquired about any weakness she might have been experiencing. Recognizing the alarming decline in Angela's health, a crucial decision was made. He reached out to the police, sharing every detail he could muster, urging them to investigate further. Later that night, well past the witching hour, the police arrived at the hospital to confront the grim reality of Angela's condition. Angela remained on life support, devoid of any brain activity. The following day, on March 16, 2023, investigators turned their attention to Caitlin, the office manager. It was here, in the quiet confines of her office, that the web of truth began to unravel. Caitlin recounted the morning of March 6, 2023, just before Angela's alarming hospital visit. James had prepared a pre-workout protein shake for her, boasting about his devotion to his wife at the office, painting himself as a caring husband. But then, the narrative took a dark turn. Angela suddenly became dizzy, and from that moment, her health plummeted. Caitlin didn't shy away from her concerns, revealing a suspicious package that had raised alarms about potassium cyanide. She explained how this deadly chemical could mirror the symptoms Angela had been suffering from, and in some cases, lead to fatal outcomes. Ryan, who had joined the conversation at the dental clinic, added his own chilling insights. Shattering the facade of the seemingly happy Craig family, he divulged that in 2021, when James faced financial turmoil and the looming threat of bankruptcy, he confided in Ryan about deep marital strife. To everyone's shock, James had contemplated divorce at that time. Even more heartbreaking was James's later admission that Angela had once considered taking her own life in 2022 through an overdose, a situation he had intervened in to prevent. Ryan revealed that James claimed Angela's self-harming tendencies escalated when he asked for a divorce in December 2022. Despite these grave issues, James never sought help for Angela's mental health or reported her concerning behavior to authorities. This pattern of secrecy and neglect sparked a cascade of questions about the recent events surrounding Angela. To gain insight into Angela's mental state, the police turned to the couple's 6 children. Surprisingly, their accounts painted a contrasting picture, depicting their mother as vibrant and joyful, with no signs of the troubling behavior James had described. This contradiction only deepened the mystery, suggesting James might have been weaving a fabricated narrative to justify Angela's deteriorating health. As the suspicions against James mounted, the police initiated a comprehensive investigation. They secured search warrants for both the Craig residence and James's dental office. They began meticulously reviewing James's phone records and text conversations exchanged with Angela. The records dated back to March 6, 2023, the very day Angela first reported feeling unwell. The text messages from that day unveiled a disturbing exchange. Angela expressed gratitude for a coffee James had made, reflecting affection and optimism for the day ahead. However, the tone shifted abruptly when Angela mentioned feeling dizzy and unwell, which prompted James to suggest she check her blood pressure. The conversation took a disquieting turn as James referenced heavy medications. He acknowledged his prior concerns, hinting at a potential trigger for Angela's symptoms. He voiced worries about her condition, likening her symptoms to those of a stroke, and inquired about any weakness she might have been experiencing. Ryan's unease grew as he considered the implications of Angela's condition, wondering what might have led her to such a dark path. The depth of his concern revealed the complex web of relationships tangled in this unfolding tragedy. This unsettling exchange between James Craig and his wife Angela, combined with the mounting evidence, left investigators grappling with more questions than answers. As James continued to probe into Angela's symptoms, offering unsolicited suggestions, a disquieting awareness began to surface. The concern over Angela's deteriorating condition became increasingly evident. The investigation took a significant turn when police decided to scrutinize James's computer. What they found was alarming. 2 email accounts linked to him, accompanied by a disturbing search history. This search history, which focused on Angela's declining health, raised suspicions about James's involvement. Just a month before Angela was hospitalized, he had searched for chilling terms like, "How many grams of pure arsenic does it take to kill a human?" James had also been curious about whether arsenic could be detected during an autopsy. His searches for chemical suppliers in the city only heightened the investigators' concerns. Among the most damning evidence was a purchase James made on Amazon. He ordered a product explicitly labeled as 99.99% crystalline metalloid arsenic, with a product description that warned that ingesting this chemical could be fatal. A deeper dive into James's online activity revealed a series of alarming YouTube videos. One video, ominously titled "Top 5 Undetectable Poisons That Don't Show Signs of Murder," provided instructions for creating plant-based poisons. James had also conducted 3 additional searches related to homemade poison making, specifically sourcing from plants. As if the evidence couldn't get more disturbing, investigators discovered yet another video detailing the effects of cyanide and arsenic poisoning, emphasizing the challenges doctors face in detecting these lethal substances. The most incriminating piece of evidence came in the form of an order James placed for potassium cyanide. With each discovery, the pieces of the puzzle began to coalesce, painting a troubling picture that suggested James had been poisoning Angela all along. But what could drive a man to poison his wife, the mother of his children? Was it linked to his desire for a divorce? As investigators dove deeper into the case, they began interviewing friends and family. Angela's sister provided critical insight, revealing that only those closest to Angela knew the grim reality of her marriage with James. The truth about her marriage was far from the loving facade they projected to the world. She disclosed that James had a history of extramarital affairs with multiple women. Even more shocking, James had confessed to Angela about his addiction to inappropriate online material dating back to his teenage years. One particularly disturbing incident from 5 or 6 years earlier caught the attention of law enforcement. Angela had confided in her sister, expressing her fear that James had deliberately drugged her, suspecting he did so to thwart her from interfering in his illicit activities. This revelation shed light on some of the strange text messages exchanged between the couple. However, police remained skeptical of James's explanations regarding drugging Angela, finding it unreasonable that he would resort to such extreme measures. Angela's longing to escape her marriage had been a recurring sentiment she expressed over the past 16 years. Yet each time she gathered the courage to leave, something held her back. Their marital woes extended beyond personal grievances, intertwining with James's struggles in his dental practice, which only complicated matters further. In a desperate bid for relief, James had tried his luck in Las Vegas, gambling away over $2,000. Despite being $2 million in debt, police began to uncover a darker reality hidden beneath the facade of the Craig family's seemingly perfect marriage. The investigation revealed a household steeped in turmoil, with evidence that only deepened the shadows of suspicion. In a shocking twist, investigators discovered emails documenting round-trip flights booked for Karen, an orthodontist based in Texas. These exchanges between Karen and James were intimate, far removed from any professional correspondence. Karen had filed for divorce in 2022, and had begun a covert relationship with James, a secret that Angela was completely unaware of. As detectives dug deeper, they uncovered that these flights had been purchased on the same day that events would take a tragic turn. Arsenic had been delivered to James's residence, suggesting a grim plan for him to rendezvous with Karen on March 16th. One email from Karen to James titled, "See You Soon," expressed her regret over the upheaval in his life that week. In it, she apologized for her absence and for keeping her distance during such a turbulent time. As police gathered mounting evidence against James, hospital staff desperately fought for Angela's life. Tragically, on March 18th, at 4:29 p.m., Angela was declared brain dead. She left this world without ever knowing the full extent of her husband's sinister plotting. Just hours after Angela was taken off life support, James faced the weight of his actions as he was officially charged with first-degree premeditated murder. Little time was left for reflection as he was arrested the following day, March 19th. In a Colorado courtroom, James sat before a judge as the charges against him were read aloud. Friends, family, and even some of Angela and James's children bore witness to the disarray of the man they once knew, now disheveled and clad in an orange jumpsuit. Handcuffed, he presented a stark contrast to the smiling figure captured in family photographs. Facing the grave charge of first-degree murder, James was also hit with a second charge, tampering with physical evidence. The judge set his bail at a staggering $10 million, with his trial scheduled for December 2024. A week after Angela's death, investigators uncovered that she had not one but 3 life insurance policies in her name. While the motive remained unconfirmed, this revelation raised the chilling possibility that James's plan included a financial gain through these insurance payouts, intertwined with his affair. Now, Angela's 6 children were left to navigate the agonizing reality of losing their mother, all while their father stood trial for her murder. Angela's children had been her pride and joy, and in the wake of James's arrest, her family stepped in to care for them. They made it clear that James's extended family should not bear the brunt of his heinous actions. In Angela's obituary, her family and loved ones endeavored to capture the essence of her life, showcasing the joy she brought beyond the tragedy of her untimely death. Following the declaration of her brain death, Angela's family made the courageous decision to donate her organs. Though they could not save her, they found bittersweet solace in knowing that her legacy would continue through the lives she helped to save. Thank you for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the globe, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we delve into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.